The captain's voice crackled over the speakers, calm but edged with something raw. "Folks, this is your captain speaking. We've lost thrust in both engines. Prepare for crash landing. Brace positions. Now." In seat 14C, the man everyone had ignored since boarding, flannel shirt, calloused hands, mud still under one thumbnail, leaned forward. His name was Elias Grant, a wheat farmer from the plains who'd only bought the ticket because his daughter was about to have her first baby. He unclipped his seatbelt before anyone else could react. "Give me the controls," he said, voice steady, like he was asking for the salt at dinner. The flight attendant nearest him laughed once, nervous, then stopped when she saw his eyes. Nobody moved at first. The plane shuddered hard, dropping like an elevator with cut cables. A businessman in 14 billions clutched his laptop tighter. "Sir, sit down. This isn't funny." But Elias was already standing, that old pocket watch of his swinging from its chain as he gripped the seat back. The watch had been his mentor's. Captain Ruiz, the man who'd taught him everything before the world, told Elias to go home and plant seeds instead of chasing clouds. First time the watch meant anything, it was just a goodbye gift after his last training flight years ago. "Time doesn't fly, son," Ruiz had said then, pressing it into his palm. "You do, until you don't." Elias remembered the hangar lights flickering late at night, Ruiz's gravel voice walking him through impossible scenarios. "Engines quit at 30,000? You don't fight the sky. You read her. The land below will tell you where she wants to set down if you listen close enough." Ruiz had tapped the watch. "And when everything goes quiet, this little tick will remind you you're still breathing. Use it." That line stuck, prophetic in a way Elias never wanted to test. When the sky goes quiet, trust the ground that's been waiting for you. The cabin was all stale coffee breath and rising panic now. Overhead bins rattled. A baby cried somewhere back in row 20. The co-pilot's voice came on next, strained. "Cabin crew, prepare for impact." Elias pushed past the attendant, his boots heavy on the carpet. "I flew A-10s in the sandbox before I ever touched a tractor. 2 tours. Then a bird that shouldn't have come down, but did. I walked away from 3 crashes most men don't survive. Let me up there." The captain's voice cut in again from the cockpit, arguing with ground control. No one believed the farmer. Not the skeptical flight attendant who kept saying, "Sir, regulations." Not the off-duty cop in 15A who put a hand on Elias's shoulder, firm. "Back to your seat, buddy. Heroes get people killed." But Elias reached into his pocket and pulled out that same pocket watch. He clicked it open, the engraving inside catching the emergency lights, coordinates from Ruiz's last real landing, a field in Kansas where they'd practiced dead-stick approaches. "See this? My mentor marked every safe patch of dirt between here and the Rockies. We're 30 miles from one right now. I can feel it in the wind shear. Give me 30 seconds in that seat, and I'll prove it." He demonstrated quick, grabbed a napkin from the service cart, sketched the plane's glide ratio from memory, the exact descent angle a farmer would use to judge a field for planting but applied to wings. Numbers didn't lie. The co-pilot, peering out, finally nodded once, reluctant. Layers of doubt peeled back slow. The attendant stepped aside. The cop muttered something about lawsuits, but the captain's voice came through, exhausted. "We got nothing left. Get him up here. Stay with me here." Because what happened next in that cockpit wasn't some movie miracle. It was 2 men, 1 machine failing, and a lifetime of listening to dirt under boots instead of runway lights. Elias slid into the left seat, hands shaking just once as he gripped the yoke. His breath came short, chest tight like the day Ruiz had made him land blindfolded on a grass strip. The instruments screamed warnings, altitude dropping fast. The farmland below stretched out, patchwork greens and browns blurred by rain. "Flaps to 20, Elias said, voice low, cutting through the alarms. The captain beside him hesitated, then complied. The plane bucked hard, first crisis within crisis, as a crosswind hit like a fist. Elias's left hand steadied the throttle, right making tiny corrections. "Feel that?" She's telling us she's heavy on the right wing. Compensate, or we'll cartwheel. Sweat beaded on his forehead. A passenger's scream carried faintly through the door. The pocket watch lay on the console now, ticking loud in the sudden relative quiet, its second hand a metronome for the impossible. Step by step, he nursed her down. Throttle back to minimum sync rate. Read the tree line for wind direction the way he'd read crop rows for hail coming. "Gear down," he called, and the grind of hydraulics answered reluctant. The ground rushed up, too fast at first. Another shudder, a panel light exploding with sparks. Elias cursed under his breath, adjusted pitch, felt the yoke fight back like a living thing. Unexpected tenderness came then. The captain, voice breaking, said, "My kid's on this flight too." Elias glanced once, nodded. "Then we get her home messy." They cleared a power line by feet that felt like inches. The wheels hit dirt, first bounce violent, metal groaning, then settling into a slide through soft soil that sprayed up like ocean wake. The plane slewed left, tail dragging, but held. Dust and grass swallowed the windows. Silence fell heavy after the last scrape of metal on earth. Bodies released tension in waves. Someone sobbed relief. The first voice to speak was the little girl in 14D, clutching her teddy. "Did the farmer man save us?" The skeptical cop stumbled forward later, face pale, reckoning in his eyes. "I owe you an apology." "Hell, the whole plane does." Official response came quick. Sirens in the distance, rescue teams cutting through fence lines. They found the exact field Ruiz had once mapped years ago, coordinates matching the watch. Elias stepped out last, legs unsteady on real ground again. His daughter waited at the edge of the cordon somehow, news traveling fast in small towns. They embraced wordless, her hand on his flannel like she was making sure he was solid. Later that evening, in a quiet hospital hallway, Ruiz showed up, old now, cane tapping. The pocket watch passed between them once more, its meaning shifted forever from goodbye to thank you. "You listened," Ruiz said simply. Weeks later, Elias was back on his tractor under wide skies, the roar of engines replaced by wind through wheat. Life looked ordinary, rows planted neat, mud on boots again, but different. He paused at the fence line one evening, watch in hand, staring at the horizon where that field still showed the scar of skidding metal. Ruiz sat beside him on an old bench, pipe smoke curling. "Why'd you keep flying after everything?" Elias asked. Ruiz smiled slow. "Because some landings aren't about perfect. They're about getting back up to plant again." "What would you have done if the person who could save everyone looked like the last one you'd trust?" Drop your answer below. There's no single right call, just the one that matters when the sky goes quiet. If this story moved you, hit subscribe and share it with someone who needs to believe ordinary hands can still steady the world. The pocket watch ticked on, steady against the endless fields.